biggest advice you can, give to the audience, what that would be, all the fellow entrepreneurs from IIT Dhanbad?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest advice is make sure, I mean, kind of like kind of adding on top of that, like the previous thing that I may mention, like if you think you have a problem, if you think you have an idea and you want to tackle it, just solve it. The other biggest advice, kind of like piggybacking off of that, is make sure that problem is actually worth solving. Just because you think you're passionate about that doesn't really make it a good business model. So think about that, because we had to make a lot of pivots along the way, and I'm sure you probably have had to do it too. Just make sure that the business model is solid, right? I mean, sometimes you think, okay, this is a fantastic idea, I want to do this, and I'm sure people will come and buy. It's never like that. You build, and people will come. There, you always have to sell it. So you're going to make sure that your business model is perfect, and it's easier said than done. So sit down, think hard about it, write like a short document if you have to, kind of put your thoughts on paper, and then validate it and talk to people. Because if you internalize it and you always kind of do like looking for positive reinforcements, everyone will tell you, yes, this is a great thing, go do it. But make sure your people are criticizing you so you can kind of critique that idea better. So talk to people, think about it long and hard, write it down, analyze it, and then look at it from different angles and see if that business model makes sense. And when those two things kind of happen, that yes, your idea is passionate enough and you think that this is something you want to do, and the business model says yes, you should do it, then I think you should then take that leap and then decide to go do it. Because I mean, of course, you can always do it as you're going along the journey. It just becomes harder when other people are bought into it and you have to go back to your team and say, hey guys, by the way, we need to change directions now. There's always to kind of do that ahead of time better.
Yeah, that's so true. Like, I think, most of the startups are being started by engineers. They kind of miss out this whole sales and business model, that end of the day, you need to drive the revenue. And,
Right.
a lot of, entrepreneurs, start their journey without realizing it. And then the failure is pretty sure. So
Yeah.
yeah, validating the problem and validating there's a market who is willing to pay for the solution is so critical,
Yeah.
before you
The
quickly go.
other thing is also around like the investment side of things, right? I mean, we always the other thing that we always, people always talk about, like you, companies measure startups by the amount of money that they have raised, because that's what you see in the media, right? You always
That's
see
pretty
like,
stupid though.
yeah, like
I
startups
personally don't do that.
$1 on such and such valuation, and it always creates this like pressure on you, like, oh well, that person did it, why can't I do it, right? So just focus on like sales more than like fundraising, because ultimately customers is what matters. Investors don't care. You shouldn't care about investors either. I mean, care about the customers, and once you do that, then the investors will come. I think this is something that I realized kind of later on too, like, because you're so caught up in that whole fundraising thing, that I need to go raise 5 million, 10 million, whatever, at such and such valuation. People get caught up on it, and it also affects your mental health in some cases. So focus more on customers, and try to grow from there. That's, I think, important too for anybody to know, because oftentimes when you read the media, it portrays it very differently than what it actually is.
Yeah, I always tell like my team, like, customers are our biggest investors. If they're
Right.
investing their money in us, that's all
Yeah.
we need.